feel myself peculiar and too scared to make a change. Shakara, ha, Shakara, ha, Shakara, ha, Shakara, ha, Shakara.
And we are back once again, coming to you live from a time loop in which the war in Iran starts and ends 7 times every 24 hours. This is the Library of Mass Destruction. I am your host, Capitalisimo, and with me, as always, is your friend and mine, Christopher Sandbatch. How are you doing today, sir?
You say as always, but I haven't been here for a while because I got bit by a spider and it began infecting me. And then
the hobo spider only bites hobos.
I woke up in the hospital and hallucinated a chopped and screwed Jolly on West voice telling me that if I try really hard, I can end the war in Iran.
I mean, technically speaking, that is true. As for where you should apply those efforts or in what way, who knows? But you know, the wrong person in the right place has make all the difference. So yeah, well, I'm glad that you haven't lost a leg or any fingers or any more important digits to the necrosis of the deadly hobo spider. Sandbatch?
I didn't get bit by a spider. Actually, I woke up this morning and had a spider bite. I was really concerned that it was cancer until it started itching.
You should. You know what I do every day. Every day, I wake up and I bite a spider.
You know, yeah.
You know what? I figure if they ever get me, at least I earned it.
I just imagine the spider being like, "What gives, man?"
You know,
what
it's
gives?
like, you know how they say that like the average person eats 6 spiders a year.
Yeah,
you know how they say
believe that for a second.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's true because averages are really inaccurate. Most people eat 0 spiders a year. Me, I eat hundreds of spiders an evening just to raise the average for humanity. You know, like
make sure that I make sure the data is well reported.
Yeah, spiders and milk. That's my cereal. That's how I wake up. That's what I like to have with my coffee. Have you never mind. I don't know where I was going with it. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, it is hard to get that many spiders though. So, you know, like if anyone has like too many spiders in their house, you tell them to come over here. Tell them we're offering spider refugee status, temporary refugee status at Cap's house. It will last as long as they do. So, yeah, we're just making it evening up. Yeah. So since you haven't actually been bitten by a spider, and since you haven't been doing your part to win the war against the hordes of spiders, like I have, what have you been spending your time on?
It's been a really hectic couple of weeks, actually. I've been like jerked all over the place. Usual problems.
Whoa! This is a family show.
Usual problems with the snow leopard, engagements, just a lot going on. Been really busy. Been tired. It's fucking summer in New Orleans, and like I moved
that's how it is in the entire northern hemisphere.
You know, that's true. You know, well, I know exactly where you live. Well, I don't know exactly where you live, but I could get it to within a couple of zip codes.
Slipped an air tag into my luggage last time. Don't think I didn't find it. If you go to where that fucking thing
you're
is,
getting readings from the wrong place, buddy.
Yep. That's right. I gave it to the gayest homeboys I could find. So if you come looking for me, it will go very poorly for you. The Bucks will break you. That's how it'll happen.
For the
but
audience,
yeah, no,
who don't know this. He has to text. He has to immediately, as soon as he goes live, he has to immediately remind me to retweet it. But like retweets for me are like they're at an all-time low in terms of value.
look,
like bleeding followers behind a locked account.
It's brilliant and high a high quality choice, but it does help, and every little bit counts.
I'm no longer face fagging. I've reverted back to my original C Sandbatch. My banner image on Twitter is now a Confederate flag again. I've crashed. I've woken up.
Crashed back to Neo Confederacy.
Yeah.
Or
this time I mean it.
Soon to be Nuevo Confederacy.
Yeah.
Nuevo Confederales. We just got to get the right kind of really racist Chicanos. That's the goal.
You're speaking. We're just a plug event. Aren't you speaking somewhere soon?
Oh yeah, but the thing is that nobody can get tickets to it, so there's no reason to plug it.
Why can nobody get tickets?
Because it's sold out and it's a closed event anyway.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So, but I will be doing that, but not as part of.
It's good to plug it anyway, because one of the things about the OGC that's really great, we were actually talking about this in the central committee chat, is how good we are at putting on events. So don't mean to do the Nietzsche thing, why I write such good books, but we're really good at putting on events, and it's always heartwarming to see that we hardly ever even have room to shill, because as soon as we make tickets available, they all go. They just
That's
go
right.
rapidly.
That's right.
So.
Yes. Well, yeah. So I will be attending the South Central Forum with my other co-host, Mike of Pole, to do a completely unrelated live show. For a group of the Texas adjacent OGC chapters.
Pioneers of the format, the live show, by the way.
Live show. We did a live show at a different OGC event, and soon Mike and I will do a live show. So I'm getting all the formats down. Next time someone needs to do a live show, I'll do a consultancy.
I really enjoyed that, and I think it's a much better format than the single speaker.
It is, yeah. Need to have more panels at the conferences. Lest I forget, our friend Randall Shirker has opened the show with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Says, another few weeks, yet more call outs from the absolute worst people in the Teal network. Now, how do we determine which ones got psyoped by Palantir? Well, I have no idea who you're talking about, because that doesn't narrow it down at all. But I will say, Petey boy, give me a little bit of that Teal network dosh. Give me some of them Teal bucks. I'll for merely $400,000 American dollars, I'll retire from my present career and do this full time. And I'm sure that in some way that will support your broader mission.
Can you imagine, in the 90s, the boomers all retired and bought Harley Davidsons and lived out their easy rider fantasies. In 10 years, when the millennials start to age out of the workforce, they're all going to buy podcasting equipment and have the nostalgia podcast.
Oh God, no. Oh God, no.
Probably the most horrifying thing that's going to be said on this show.
That is so much worse than spending your children's inheritance on an RV and
imagine the millennial finance bros who at age 65 are going to fucking buy $1 million podcast rigs and start talking about the gayest shit you've ever heard.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, You know, say what you will about us millennials. At least some of us do it for the love of the game, and that's what you get. That's what you get on Library of Mass Destruction. That's what
I don't
we
do it for love
appreciate
of the game
every
at
single
all.
one of you.
Sneed super chats so I can
Yeah,
eat.
Sneed super chats. He does it for the love of the ramen. He does it for the love of the barcade.
Well, I gotta be
pranks.
I gotta be a speaker at the OGC event in New England, which if you all are if it's available, you all should go to that. Which means I have to somehow get there. So y'all should Sneed super chats.
Of course, that only counts if you're a brother of the OGC, which only
Yeah,
counts
that's
if
true.
you're a brother and not like
But
a
everybody
regular
else
brother.
should Sneed super chats anyway.
That's right. That's right. Randall Shirker for another $5 super chat. He's doing his part. Cap, the podcasting will be done in a van due to van life. You can't escape, bro. It's beyond over for us, just like Sandbatch. You know, Sandbatch, honestly, you are kind of like the quintessential van life kind of guy. You really should get a van.
I did the van life for a while when it was cool.
It was never cool.
It was so cool. Well, I mean, okay, yeah. I actually also didn't do van life so much as I was homeless in the Bay Area for a summer.
Homeless in a Corolla.
No, but I mean, it makes sense when you it's like one of those things that makes more sense than you think it does, because like in 2010 you could literally just pitch a tent and then like shower at your girlfriend's house.
What?
Yeah. I mean, it was a thing. You don't remember this, but like just like living outside in the Bay Area was a thing for a while.
Huh. I mean, I got to tell you, I've always hated the homeless. I've always been more of a home full kind of person.
Yeah.
And like I actually like looking at them physically repulses me.
The guy in the tent next to me, his father was the CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, of course.
Dude, it was just like fucking 2010s millennial shit. Leave me alone. I eventually, however, ended my only ever spell of homelessness. By the way, some of y'all think I'm fucking homeless. I live in Mid City in New Orleans.
Hate them Ashburns.
So you live in a nice neighborhood, but the only spell of homelessness I've ever had was terminated whenever I became gainfully employed running water lines for a marijuana grower in Humboldt County, who had he had gone to jail in 1982 for bombing a government building that was on rightful shorebird nesting grounds. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So he bombed it for the birds?
Yeah, for the birds.
Whoa, he's into bird illegalities.
Dude, I've been like this
lawyerings.
I've been like this for a long time. It was actually through him that I met like a significant number of those sort of like Bay Area figures that like crisscross the pages of our glorious texts.
Yeah, fair enough.
So this is an experience that you're profiting from at a rate of $5 from Randall Shirker a week.
That was $10, bud.
Okay.
$10. $10, and we haven't done a show for 2 weeks, so the average is way down. We really need someone to get in there with the on the spider plan. So on average, everyone has donated $5. In any case, we are back. We are back reading Mass Control by Mr. Keith, and Jim has gotten to one of the classics. We love the classics. We say start with the classics.
None dare call it conspiracy.
Not that one. No, we're doing Project the Monarch.
Did you see, by the way, everybody was doing that one of those dumbass posts where they like, oh, they post their personal right-wing canon or whatever, and I included which ones were on my list.
Randall Shirker sends another $2. Says, keep complaining, Sandbatch. It becomes 6 a week.
For me, it's None Dare Call It Conspiracy, The Creature of Jekyll Island, the complete works of Ludwig von Mises, Mein Kampf, and definitely the Turner Diaries. Special mention goes to Camp of Saints for red pilling your boomers.
I don't think
The worst list of books imaginable.
boomers would not get. I don't think boomers understand Camp of the Saints.
They all read it though.
Do they?
Yeah, I mean, because they all Rod Dreher fucking talks about it nonstop, and they all read Rod Dreher.
God, I hate that guy.
I've never read it before, but I imagine based on the people that I know that endorse it, that it's like anti-immigration, safe, sleazy.
The thing is that it's mostly anti-Western elites, actually.
Yeah,
that
tracks.
The Indians in it, who are the migrants. So it's not Africans.
Yeah,
it's Indians. They are literal mutants. Like they are. There's like a whole scene where like a faithful Sikh sepoy, like aka one of the good ones, is like guarding a gate. And like everyone always quotes the fucking oak door line, which is like the first chapter, which convinces me that no one has read past the first chapter. But there's this scene which is this like faithful Sikh is guarding this building full of like a bishop and Camp of the Saints, very anti-Catholic. Is so you might like it, but full of like these white people who are making choices for Europe, and they're like, we're gonna let them all in, and the Sikh is like, you don't want to do that. These people are like retarded. They can't handle themselves. They're just like shitting all over themselves. They're fucking their brothers and sisters. It's a complete mess. And they're like, yes, we must let them in. So like that is one of the funniest scenes in the entire book. That's the one everyone should be quoting instead of the fine oak door. Also, the end of the fine oak door scene in Camp of the Saints, the person who says the fine oak door quote is then like right after that gets shot in the face with a double-barreled shotgun, and the old man who owns the fine oak door like just chills there.
What is this fine oak door? I have
you
not.
You don't
and
know.
Will never read Camp of the Saints.
All right. Well, there's this scene where a hippie comes upon an old man who lived in the building forever. Whoa.
There's no hippies in Europe. You gotta call them something else.
Well, it's a hippie. And I've read both translations, by the way.
I read the shitty one and the ChatGPT one.
I don't think Valbon actually speaks French. Like they did a real translation. Anyway, this hippie is taunting, is very excited that all of these Indians on their like junky barges are landing in the south of France. And this old man is like eating, like drinking wine and eating cheese at a table that his grandfather built in the house that his ancestors have inhabited for hundreds of years. And he opens his fine oak door and asks the young man who's sitting on his front stoop what the fuck he's doing. And so the hippie is, very excited to be demographically replaced and goes into a speech that is very taunting and includes they will be tired, they will be hungry, they will not understand, etc. They will light a fire with your fine oak door. And then the guy eats double lot buck for dinner, and the old man goes back to drinking wine, which is a very like it's actually like comedically timed. Like the Camp of the Saints movie should be directed by Terry Gilliam. So but yeah, it's like it's not like a great work of fiction. It's just that it kind of actually ended up being completely true in also kind of the exact way that it happened, because ultimately it is like a conspiracy of the elites to demographically replace all of Europe. So not to mention, North America, the white countries in North America and Oceania. So yeah. Anyhow, On a completely different topic, Juan Deere has given us $20. Thank you very much.
Hello.
So,
Gracias, Juan.
gracias, Juan. We appreciate it, definitely. Let's see. Randall Shirker for $2 says, finally, we had Cap talk about a book again. Yes. Well, more episodes of the sidebar are coming in the future. However, you can also find me on Book Club from Hell. I talk about books regularly. That's a show that comes out on a completely regular basis. Jack and I have been very diligent. So, anyway, chapter 16, The Greening of America, Monarch. One of the problems of researching covert control is obvious. We are attempting to delve into programs that are secret and meant to remain so. For this reason, Jim Keith opening with a banger. So,
opening with a real statement of existential neglect.
Yeah, right.
Also, he is forgetting an even more important condition, which is that which is sporadically revealed for its own nefarious reasons.
Right, exactly. Yes. Modified limited hangouts only.
Because the opening of chapter 16 is not the moment to admit it's all fake and gay and nothing ever happens.
Oh, modified limited hangouts. Yes, they only share the programs that allegedly didn't work. Let's see. For this reason, there is often no paper trail to follow, and the researcher must pick his way through thickets of conflicting information and first-person accounts that sometimes lack substantiation and challenge our current belief systems. It is often a difficult task to sort out fact from fiction, reality from delusion or disinformation. After CIA mind control programs were severed as official projects in the 1960s and 70s, bullshit, the paper trail becomes sporadic. The Freedom of Information Act, which has provided at least a partial view of what took place during the MKUltra era, now fails us entirely. One is forced to access primarily first-person accounts, some of them contradictory, some of them plainly delusory.
I don't know about that. I think everyone involved here is telling the goddamn truth from their own perspective.
Oh, we have truly we are postmodernists now.
A society of the spectacle.
There is no truth, only versions of the truth. Let's see. Determining the truth becomes difficult, and it is evident that there are many areas of our knowledge of mind control programs that will take years to understand, to clarify. An area of research that still demands corroboration and definition is what has come to be known as Project Monarch. All caps.
Vulpes Persona says, I smoked hash with a hippie waiting for a train in Hamburg once.
A French hippie.
Unfathomably based.
It is kind of based. Honestly, like
that French hippie was Vladimir Putin.
And that French hippie was Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
And everybody clapped. On June 25th, 1992, several months after Hitler's birthday, psychologist Dr. Corey Don Hammond gave a talk to an audience of psychology professionals at the 4th Annual Eastern Regional Conference on Abuse and Multiple Personality in Alexandria, Virginia.
I don't believe this exists because I've never been invited.
I really think that. Well, I mean, you're the capstone. You're the capstone talk. Fourth annual Eastern Regional Conference on Abuse and Multiple Personality in Alexandria, Virginia. You say the OGC is good at putting on
dude,
putting
imagine
on events,
the after party.
But who knows
real.
How many? Look, the fact is there are so many qualifiers on this conference that it just there are an unknown number of regions where conferences on abuse and multiple personality are taking place.
The Eastern Regional, so
it's the
there's
fourth
an
annual
abstraction
Eastern
that is
Regional.
region, and then there's an Eastern portion of it with no other information. Like, like, is it global? Is it what?
Is it? Yeah, exactly. The title of the lecture was Hypnosis in Multiple Personality Disorder, Ritual Abuse. Sick. And it was one of the first public presentations which seems to expose a vast terra incognita in the area of mind control research. I just want to I want to pause here really quickly. I want to pause here. What? You're trying to find the paper?
I'm absolutely trying to find the list of speakers at this event.
Fair enough.
Because I've got a suspicion.
I have a significant number of old psychological, like niche psychological journals that I have purchased recently. And I got to tell you, it is hard to find some of these fucking things. It is really hard to find some of these fucking things. If anyone finds a copy of the issue of Sociometry that contains the DDD paper, I will buy it from you. DM.
I bet that one's expensive.
I bet it's not. I bet it's not actually. Anyway.
Here we go. The Eastern Regional Conference on Abuse and Multiple Personality was a prominent series of professional symposiums held in Alexandria, Virginia during the late 1980s and 1990s, hosted by the Sidran Foundation. Interesting. Keep going. I'll report back.
Tell me more about the Sidran Foundation as soon as you've followed that wormhole to its outlet. Let's see. It was one of the first public presentations which seems to expose a vast terra incognita in the area of mind control research. Dr. Hammond began his presentation by commenting on the prevalence of multiple personality disorder cases who had apparently suffered ritual abuse at the hand of mind controllers, and his own efforts to understand what was going on by interviewing other psychologists and psychiatrists were encountering the same type of cases around the country. This could be us if you weren't such a void.
Me?
No.
What number of hypothetical?
The fourth annual Eastern Regional Conference on Abuse and Multiple Personality Disorder in Alexandria, Virginia, June 25th, 1992.
I've got the second one, which was in fact the first one after my birth. Historical truth versus narrative truth, clarifying the role of exogenous trauma and the etiology of multiple personality disorder and its variants, by George K. Ganaway, MD.
Wow, I can only get so hard.
So we got to get the fourth one.
Dr. Hammond began his presentation. We're encountering the same types of cases around the country. Carefully, without leading or contaminating, as Hammond says, he cross-checked with the other mental health care professionals, comparing cases until he felt that he had a good sense of what was going on. Hammond stated that in as many as 2/3 of the ritual abuse cases that existed, the victims had been subjected to a highly developed and uniform technology of mind control.
Well, here's a great one. Forensic aspects of dissociative identity disorder, a talk given by A.E. Sachs at the 4th Annual Eastern Regional Conference on Abuse and Multiple Personality Disorder.
Honestly, I want the symposia books for all of these.
I can't find one for the fourth one. The University of Oregon has the second one up for download.
So the victims had been subjected to a highly developed and uniform technology, much more important than any other word in that sentence, suggesting that there is a large network of practitioners of this kind practicing. This observation goes along with my own belief that the CIA, beginning in the 1940s, labored long in creating a secret science of mind control, the details of which are only now coming to light. What we know of MK Ultra is the tip of the iceberg. Just the tip.
Oh, here we go. Corydon's speech is apparently referred to infamously somewhat as the Green Bomb speech, which curious since it's not his name. In this lecture, Hammond claimed that his patients recovered memories that revealed intergenerational satanic cults were running advanced trauma-based mind control programming. drawing comparisons to government intelligence and CIA projects. Interestingly enough, Jolyon West was in attendance.
Of course he fucking was. This was during the height of his induction and deprogramming arc. So from the cult angle, you would get the ritual abuse overlap. There's no way he'd miss something like this. Let's see here. Often, according to him, and these will be bloodline people. That is blood libel people. That is persons programmed by their parents who are involved in cultic practices such as Satanism or in intelligence agency programs. I like how they did. He just stated those as equivalent.
Dude, do you want me to go into since I'm behind closed doors and she would never and I've already have a well-established pseudonym for her. We're going to the psychology of the snow leopard.
What about the psychology of the snow leopard?
The snow leopard has a mother.
Okay.
And the mother has a tendency to.
And the mother turns out she had a mother too. And her mother, I wouldn't be surprised to learn, also had a mother.
The mother has a tendency to disappear on long trips into the Orient for long periods of time, and come back with really strange stories.
Come back disoriented.
It's all very disorienting anyway. Well, the snow leopard believes that I practice sex magic on her for nefarious purposes by asking questions like, "You
ulterior motives unrelated to the sex."
Yeah, ulterior motives such as, "Are you going to sleep tonight?" Okay, and this triggers dreams of me as a cannibal, as a thing that dates transgender persons that she knows personally. And then she goes to Mother with it, and Mother interprets it as me as a satanic demon, and then it gets brought back to me. So, and I've long suspected that there's probably some actual similar traumas going on here. I have someone, a very kind listener in the chat that apparently has never listened before. So woohoo! Pointed out just a moment ago that I have more vitality in my voice than is expected. And I also don't understand how that happens, because I get exposed to some of the ugliest shit in the fucking world. But anyway, continue. Rant over
for $2 says, "Is she wrong though?"
Oh my fucking God.
I do note, Sandbatch, you did not deny it.
I do not know how to practice sex magic.
You know what? The best sex magicians.
I
don't know how they do it.
I had a feeling this was coming, but the only sort of magical things that I understand are they're what we call white cloth magic. They're wardings, and I know
stage magic.
I know washes that you can use to get bad energy off of you and that sort of thing.
Juju, they call it. Is it a coincidence that bad energy is called juju?
I have a copy of the Greenbaum speech right now, and to tell you, let you know that this is gonna be a zinger. He opens it by saying, "We've got a lot to cover today, and let me give you a rough approximate outline of the things I'd like us to get into. First, let me ask, how many of you have had at least one course or workshop on hypnosis? Can I see the hands? Wonderful. That makes our job easier. Okay, I want to start off by talking about trance training and the use of hypnotic phenomena with MPT dissociative disorder patients. To talk about unconscious explorations, methods of doing that, the use of imagery and symbolic imagery techniques for managing.
I have to try to induce hypnotic states.
Dude,
I wonder if it's even possible.
You gotta just go down to the store and get you a diner goth.
And what?
Just bring her home, feed her Cheetos, and you're good.
My wife would be like, "Honey, who's this Floyd?"
Dude, your wife is a fucking ride or die. She would totally be down. It's just my DDD experiment.
What are you doing? Oh, this is just a test subject. A test subject for what? Don't worry about it, honey. Okay.
Have another one.
Well, I trust you, but this one better disappear like all the others.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's see here. QG says this show needs a binaural beat track going on in the background, honestly. Well, there is a binaural beat track that is in our intro and outro.
You got to stick around for the outro now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're gonna do a big. We're gonna research a little bit these regional conferences, but we'll get back to you. Maybe we'll also read the Greenbaum speech. But let's see here. Randall Shirker for another $2 says things Sandbatch says before being found in a dump. I'm not sure what specific thing you said that prompted that.
I have I just sprayed.
But it does kind of work.
Sprayed
generally.
the chat with info hazards, right?
It does, yeah. It does kind of work generally. Let's see. Hammond said, when you start to find the same highly esoteric information in different states, in different countries, from Florida to California, you start to get an idea that there's something going on that is very large, very well coordinated, with a great deal of communication and systematicness to what is happening. So I have gone from someone kind of neutral and not knowing what to think about all of it to someone who clearly believes ritual abuse is real and that people who say it isn't are either naive, like people who didn't want to believe the Holocaust, or they're dirty. Whoa. You lost me in that last one, Hammond.
You know, to on the Holocaust, to quote a great friend of mine, respectfully, man, I got to disagree with your thesis. You know?
Yeah, respectfully, vis-a-vis the mention of the Holocaust.
I'm glad you picked up who it was, and did a better one.
All respect on Thomas 777's name. He stands on business. Good friend. He suffered through this was not actually intentional, but it was maybe one of the worst accidental DDDings I've ever performed. When he watched when he watched Fiddler on the Roof on
I can't believe
night.
y'all did that. I can't believe y'all did that.
For the bit, you can't believe for the bit. Of course, it's for the bit. Thomas 777. Notorious, noted, wonderful historian of the Third Reich, watching Fiddler on the Roof. The thing he hated the most about it, by the way, was that it was a musical.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was thinking it's pretty good flick, but it's too many songs, man. You know,
too many songs, man. Yeah, that's right.
Anyhow, I would have walked off. You can't do that to me on fucking drive time movie night.
You know what? To be real,
I will take an incredible amount of DDD for the bit, but I will not take a musical.
To be honest with you, we did cut the movie halfway through. I didn't realize it was 3 hours long.
It's so long.
I did not realize it was 3 hours long, so that was my bad. But yeah. Anyway, back to the thing. This is everyone's getting all of these Cap extended universe teasers in the show now, so you don't know what's going on if you just listen to Library of Mass Destruction.
We're DDDing the audience is what we're doing here, and it doesn't matter that we're telling them. We're just gaslighting you.
This is the opposite of evergreen content.
But evergreen content can be non-evergreen content can be turned into evergreen content simply by gaslighting the audience with it. You have to make them feel as though they've already missed out and it's over. Again, for those of you who are trying to learn how to put on events, this is a classic technique. So you notice yeah, you can't go anymore. It's all fucking sold out. Sorry, you missed. You just kind of suck. But yeah, continue. I've still got the Greenbaum speech out.
Randall Shirker says, listen, I'm absolutely down for a 3+ hour musical watch along. You know what, Shirker? Now that you've said that, we're going to watch a Bollywood movie. I will be in your DMs. We're going to watch a Bollywood movie, and I'm going to do it just to torture Mike. It'll be great. Let's see. I already know the one we're going to watch. So, all right. Let's see. According to Hammond, what they basically do is they will get a child and they will start this in basic forms, it appears, by about 2.5 after the child's already been made dissociative. They'll make him dissociative not only through abuse, like sexual abuse, but also things like putting a mousetrap on their finger and teaching the parents, you do not go in until the child stops crying. Only then do you go in and try to remove it. They start in rudimentary forms at about 2.5 and kick into high gear.
That's pretty intense.
Around 6 or 6.5, continue through adolescence with periodic reinforcements in adulthood. Basically, in the programming, the child will be put typically on a gurney. They will have an IV in one arm or hand, and they'll be strapped down, typically naked. There will be wires attached to their head to monitor electroencephalograph patterns. They will see a pulsing light, most often described as red, occasionally white or blue. They'll be given, most commonly, I believe, Demerol. They will describe a pain in one ear. Their right ear this sounds a lot like the GATE program testing. Pain in one ear, their right ear generally, where it appears a needle has been placed. Not an audio signal, never mind. And they will hear weird disorienting sounds in that ear while they see photic stimulation to drive the brain into a Brave-Wayne pattern with pulsing light at a certain frequency. Then, after a suitable period, when they're in a certain brainwave state, they will begin programming oriented to a self-destruction and debasement of the person. Hammond says that many of the cases dramatizing multiple personality disorder phenomena have connections to the CIA and military installations. He describes one patient who went to a cult school where mind control sessions would take place several times a week. She would go into a room, get all hooked up. When she was in a proper altered state, now there were no longer having to monitor with electroencephalographs. They also had already placed on her electrodes, one in the vagina, for example, 4 on the head. Sometimes they'll be on other parts of the body. They will then begin, and they would say to her, "You are very angry with someone in the group." She'll say, "No, I'm not." And they would violently shock her. They would say the same thing until she complied and didn't make any negative response. There are 2 lights. They would continue. And because you are angry with someone in the group, or when you are angry with someone in the group, you will hurt yourself. Do you understand? She said, "No." And they'll shock her. They repeat again, "Do you understand?" "Well, yes, but I don't want to." Shock her again until they get compliance. Then they keep adding to it. "And you will hurt yourself by cutting yourself. Do you understand?" Maybe she'd say yes, but they might say, "We don't believe you," and shock her anyway. That's the dread, by the way, the unpredictability. Go back and go over it again, and they would continue in this sort of fashion. She said typically it seemed as though they'd go about 30 minutes, take a break for a smoke or something, come back. They may review what they'd done and stop, or they might review what they'd done and go on to new material. She said that the sessions might go half an hour. They might go 3 hours. She estimated 3 times a week. Programming under the influence of drugs in a certain brainwave state and with these noises in one ear and them speaking in the other ear, usually the left, associated with right hemisphere non-dominant brain functioning, and with them talking, therefore, and requiring intense concentration, intense focusing. Because often they'll have to memorize and say certain things back, word perfect, to avoid punishment, shock, and other kinds of things that are occurring. There will be very standardized types of hypnotic things done at times. There will be sensory deprivation, which we know increases suggestibility in anyone. Total sensory deprivation suggestibility has significantly increased from this research. Hammond has come to believe that there are several levels of programming with the patients with whom he has worked that can be accessed by letters of the Greek alphabet. Although Hammond does not mention it, these designations may have been roughly derived from the classifications of the classic eugenics tract Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Bit of a stretch, but okay. Some of these letter designations follow. The first level, alpha, is generalized mind control, the base level of programming of the subject and characterized by augmented memory and the splitting of the mind into left and right brain divisions. Beta is apparently programming of sexuality and the destruction of moral inhibitions. The should have been lambda. Gamma is the level providing mind control system protection involving deception and misdirection. Delta is the assassin programming level and includes killers trained to perform ritual sacrifice. Theta is termed the psychic killer level. According to Hammond, I have never in my life heard of those two terms paired together. I never heard the word psychic killer. But when you have people in different states, including therapists, inquiring and asking, what is theta? And patients say to them, psychic killers, it tends to make one a believer that certain things are very systematic and very widespread. This comes from their belief in psychic sorts of abilities and powers, including their ability to psychically communicate with mother, and including their ability to psychically cause somebody to develop a brain aneurysm and die. Omega is the level of programming dictating self-destruction and is intended to cause the subject to commit suicide when they are interrogated or begin therapy. Hammond believes that this type of program is originally created by the CIA, and in particular, Dr. L. Wilson Green, whose original name Hammond reports was Greenbaum. Among the code names used for the programming is Green Tree and Ultra Green. Hammond describes a self-destruction programming. This was called the Green Bomb, BOBM. Lots of interesting internal consistencies like that play on words with Dr. Greenbaum, his original name. Now, in this case, it was done to her at age 9 for the first time. Only hers was different. Hers was a suggestion for amnesia. If you ever remember anything about Ultra Green and the Green Tree, you will go crazy. You'll become a vegetable and be locked up forever. Then finally, the suggestion added, and it will be easier to just kill yourself than have that happen to you, if you ever remember it. At age 12 then, 3 years later, they used what sounds like a sodium amytal interview to try and breach the amnesia and find out if they could. They couldn't. So then they strapped her down again, gave her something to kind of paralyze her body, gave her LSD and reinforced all the suggestions. Did a similar thing at age 16. One area where mind control programming takes place, according to Hammond, is in southern Utah.
Was that a yawn?
Yeah, it was a big yawn.
Was in southern Utah, again with the snow leopard, but like towards the end of our most recent spat of dating, she got really into the videos of one Teal Swan, who is a feminist astrology influencer who has claims that she grew up in a satanic Mormon family in southern Utah.
Interesting that there are Satanists who also have the Book of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Just do they have the Satanic Book of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
I don't know, man.
Because I know they have the Satanic Bible. But,
I can feel the vitality draining out of my voice. It's actually exhausting to think about.
You know what? Just like we love our Mormons. We love our Mormons. We respect them as the white kind of Muslim.
Yeah.
But they aren't Christians. And so on account of having the entire extra book. And so that makes you kind of wonder, and not acknowledging the Nicene Creed, but it does make you kind of wonder, does that make Mormon Satanists not real Satanists? Because they have a different, they have the book of Mormon. They have the Black Book of Mormon. I don't know. Think about it. Food for thought. Do we allow them in? Let's see here. One area, Southern Utah. Remember the Process Church? Hammond asked in his presentation. Roman Polanski's wife, Sharon Tate, was killed by the Manson family, who were associated with the Process Church. A lot of prominent people in Hollywood were associated. And then they went underground.
I tried to tell the Snow Leopard about the Process Church one time, and she absolutely fucking shut down on me.
Oh,
for
really?
readers who don't remember, the Process Church has showed up several times already.
That's right.
They were based out of Denver, I think.
Honestly, I feel like the more that they're just cutouts, man. They're just all cutouts. Like they're not.
We're at
like,
geo levels of giving up on everything. He's like, they're all just cutouts, man.
No, I'm just saying it's like there are cults that arise organically, of course.
Yeah.
But then like some are just like, because cults sort of exist in this semi-protected state of legality, right? Where say like a business or a conventional nonprofit would not. They're great for CIA cutouts.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's just really convenient to have a system where really, because of the First Amendment, there are a lot of protections. So, courts don't really want to like fuck with religions. And there have been a lot of court cases that show even like sort of business style cult adjacent organizations like the Scientologists are allowed to do like business operations under the actual church because they are considered a religious organization that's allowed to do that. So so all our entire jurisprudence system basically sets it up to just claim religiosity, have some people who will like, deny any difference from that, and you're basically scot-free. So anyway, all right. So a lot of prominent people in Hollywood were associated, and then they went underground, the books say, in about 78 and vanished. While they're alive and well in southern Utah. They have a thick file in a Utah Department of Public Safety documenting that they moved to southern Utah, north of Monument Valley, bought a movie ranch in the desert, renovated it, expanded it, built a bunch of buildings there, carefully monitored so that very few people go out there and no one can get in, and changed their name. The key word in their name is foundation. The Foundation. Hammond's allegation about the ritual abuse in Utah are supported by documents.
Hold on. Teal Swan has spoken about her professional connection to the rugged, vast landscapes of southern Utah and Monument Valley. Wow.
Wow. Hey, we'll do LMD live number 2. Dude, live from Monument Valley.
We would be killed.
We would be decapitated.
Possibly live on air.
How
committed to the bit are you?
I am not that committed. Let's see. Carefully monitored so that very few people would go out there and no one can get in. Change their name. Keyword in their name is the Foundation. Hammond's allegations about ritual abuse in Utah are supported by a document I received in 1991. This was a copy of a memo authored by a general authority of the Mormon Church, second counselor in the presiding bishopric, Glenn L. Pace, directed to the Strengthening Church Members Committee. Suffice it to say that I am not a Mormon. I am not a member of any organized religious group. So you're a Satanist. But the members of the church sent it to me, according to the memo, which has "do not reproduce" emblazoned across its masthead. Mr. Pace has met with 60 victims of ritual abuse in Utah. Pace writes, that number could be twice or 3 times as many if I did not discipline myself to only 1 meeting per week. What? That's a weird limit. Of the 60 victims with whom I have met, 53 are female and 7 are male. Expected ratio. 8 are children. The abuse occurred in the following places: Utah, 37, Idaho, 3, California, 4, Mexico, 2, other places, 14. 53
what
victims.
What are the other places? Come on,
probably
man.
Just other states that had 1.
No, I bet the other ones, I bet at least several of them are all probably New Orleans. Because there was
other places, 14 New Orleans.
Tulane has come up several times, if you'll remember.
Yeah. 53 victims are currently living in the state of Utah. The only thing, honestly, that makes your sex magic not ritual abuse is that you don't have like a prescribed technology for it. It's just, you're just kind of freestyling it. It's like jazz ritual abuse.
You know, I try to explain my poetry that way.
53 victims are currently living in the state of Utah. All 60 individuals are members of the Mormon Church. 45 victims allege witnessing and or participating in human sacrifice. Snacrifice. The majority were abused by relatives, often their parents. All have developed psychological problems, and most have been diagnosed as having multiple personality disorder or some other form of dissociative disorder. Pace reports, I don't pretend to know how prevalent the problem is. All I know is that I have met with 60 victims, assuming that each one comes from a coven of 13. Okay, interesting assumption. Pace. We're talking about the involvement of 800 or so right there on the Watch front in Wasatch front in Utah. Obviously, I have only seen those coming forth to get help. They are in their 20s and 30s for the most part. I can only assume that it is expanding geometrically, and I am horrified at the numbers represented by the generation who are now children and teenagers. Pace goes on to detail the mindset of these cultic victims with information more reminiscent of the type of intelligence agency mind manipulation that Hammond speaks of than straight Satanism. I'm sure straight Satanism is really rare. It's usually pretty fagulous. The memories seem to come in layers. For example, the first memory might be of incest. Then they remember robes and candles. Next, they realize that their father or mother or both were present when they were being abused. Another layer will be the memory of seeing other people hurt and even killed. Then they remember having seen babies killed. Another layer is realizing that they participated in the sacrifices. One of the most painful memories may be that they even sacrificed their own baby. With each layer of memory comes another set of problems with which they must deal.
I'm honestly a little triggered. That's terrible.
Is the Pace memo an accurate representation of what is going on?
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, because my computer's going wild.
They're hacking, actively hacking. You got to counter hack. Is the Pace memo an accurate representation of what is going on? Is Hammond correct in his view about a vast mind control underground? The main problem with Hammond's testimony is the difficulty in substantiating his statements. We do know, however, that the reports of many persons who believe that they have been victims of mind control coincide with the information that Hammond has brought forward. So,
actually unsettling.
Yeah.
You have to experience someone essentially go through that exact.
I wonder what Glenn L. Pace did with the rest of his time.
Yeah.
Well, he died in 2017. Yep. He was an instructor at BYU, the renowned Mormon University.
Renowned Mormon University.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 6 children. Good for him. In Bountiful, Utah. Like that's an actual city name.
Geo says I could imagine Sandy as the leader of an erotic cult. There's an argument.
Wow, Geo, it really bothers me that you put the like smiling cat emoji. It's like
there's an argument that I am in fact the leader of a small erotic cult.
Oh man.
The kind that like persists through several generations but never gets famous. But if I were to run an erotic cult, the erotic cult I would run would be, you remember that show about Joe Exotic?
The Tiger King?
Yeah, the Tiger King. Do you
That
remember?
guy actually, Tiger King had some sort of ritual abuse background, because all of the guys that he was fucking were straight.
Yeah,
Like,
no, there was like
he would get them
definitely something going on
doped
there.
up. He would get them doped up on methamphetamine and run some sort of op on them.
Proteus says that argument is laid out in the Sandbaum paper. But
you know, it's really funny. We know that Sandbatch isn't a bomb because the SPLC.
so true. but the I don't, you've seen me several times. I have a perfect French nose. And but if I were to run an erotic cult, it would be like, you remember Joe's Opposite Number in South Carolina?
Oh, I remember that guy.
That guy, he seemed like he was running a chill ass operation. And
so
like
for those who don't know, let's see. Well, just go describe it and I'll find a photo.
Like he was like this like big like Southern biker looking dude with like lots of tigers.
He looked like a former. He looked like a former.
It was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
No, I know who it is. It's Doc Antle.
Myrtle Beach Tiger Cult. Reverse to Bhagwan Doc Antle and his operations at the Myrtle Beach Safari, open parentheses, close parentheses, T.I. G. E. R.
Yeah. Stop. All right. This guy on the right is Doc Antle, and he had like multiple women who would live with him. He had like all these concubines. He used to do these.
Concubines is the only word for it. Absolutely.
He used to dress up. He used to dress up like he was in the fucking Beastmaster, or like a sword and sandal kind of thing. Let's see if there's another one. Oh yeah, here's another one. He basically had like a tiger. He basically had like a tiger worshiping cult.
Yeah,
and he had
Doc
all these.
Pleads guilty to money laundering and animal trafficking. The picture of him here is incredible. I'm going to ask ChatGPT to build an image of Doc Antle with his concubines, and let's see. Let's just see how it goes.
Well, you know what? Doc Antle did nothing wrong, and I say that because I think that criminality is determined by how interesting something is, and so you should be able to do more things. You should be able to do more things as long as
he clearly had the fucking moxie for it. You know what I mean? Like because I've spent a lot of time in and around Myrtle Beach, and like it is definitely the strangest little corner of South Carolina. But like, you know, the people there
look at this guy.
Gonna let you get away with shit unless they kind of like you. But look at this dude. There's a picture of him.
You know what this says? This says not guilty to me. That's right.
I wish I could share my screen right now.
I'm so glad you can't.
This Instagram picture of him with a cane refereeing tiger fights and with several of his concubines in the image, absolutely priceless.
Yeah. So good. Anyway, yeah, no, I agree. I think that would be a pretty good kind of cult for you. It's a manageable size too, right? You just need like 5 women, right? Because after that,
no, it's like a Sith style cult. We're really actually
2?
What?
2?
No, I mean, I would even go so far because I'm actually quite monogamous, and so like I need one like evil bitch to run my erotic cult.
Oh wait, you mean you need your Ghislaine Maxwell?
I need yes. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
That's a very.
I'm just roving the world looking for my Jazane Maxwell.
Honestly, she was a ride or die. That's true.
Dude, because I know how bad it is. First of all, she's Jewish. Second of all, like, there are not many men in the world that have commanded that type of devotion from exactly one woman.
Also, like
you're like at Greek mythology tier devotion there.
yeah, to convince a woman willing to do those levels of crimes that is something I would not aspire to.
Dude, the Doc Antle concubine picture.
I'm glad my wife is not that into me.
The Doc Antle concubine picture came out, and it was just a picture of Doc Antle.
The concubines are within his spirit. So, ultimately, anyway, all right. Moving on. We'll have to look up we'll have to maybe get that. Maybe DM me a copy of the speech, and we'll see.
The
how
green
long.
bomb one.
Yeah. Just shoot me the link. Anyway, chapter 17. Claudia Mullen. In March 1995, Claudia Mullen spoke before a U.S. Presidential Advisory Committee investigating government radiation experiments after World War II. Mullen stated to the commission, between the years 1957 and 1984, I became a pawn in the government's game. Its ultimate goal was mind control and to create a perfect spy, all through the use of chemicals, radiation, drugs, hypnosis, electric shock, isolation in tubs of water, sleep deprivation, brainwashing, verbal, physical, and emotional and sexual abuse. I was exploited unwillingly for nearly 3 decades of my life, and the only explanations given to me were that the end justifies the means, and I was serving my country in their bold effort to fight communism. I can only summarize. That's what if I was ever going to sexually abuse someone, I would say, "Don't worry, babe. This is to fight communism." I can only summarize my circumstances by saying,
I have to establish this tiger cult and fly over country to fight communism.
I can think of nothing less communist than a tiger cult.
It's so true.
I really can't.
Like if you're combing the country looking for people who are absolutely not communist, owners of obscure tiger cults in middle America would probably be near the top of your list,
That's right. Oh, Proteus says lie back and think of Milton Friedman. It's just like you sleep deprive someone and force them to just listen to Milton Friedman. We're gonna read you Henry Hazlitt's bullshit about the pencil to make sure you
there was a Mises Institute essay, and it was Jeffrey Tucker that wrote it. It was a conceiving every Taco Bell as a cathedral. Do you remember that one?
No, but great. There's also actually, was it Lewis? I think it was actually not Henry Hazlitt who wrote the pencil thing. It was Lewis Reed, was it not? Lawrence Reed, I think. Anyway, whatever. Also, Son of Haster says Sam Bankman-Fried also had one of those running his harem. So
no, she turned on him.
She turned on him hard. He did not pin that weasel hard enough.
That's now I can see that comment in the same frame as I can see Gio's comment. And now I'm like literally do you remember the Geo copy pasta that went along with that phase of internet life?
What, the pinning the weasel?
The most horrifying copy pasta I have ever seen. Oh,
yeah. Let's read it. Hold on. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. All right. This normies can't understand the thrill of pitting the weasel. Night spent chasing an over-amphetamine Caroline around the beanbag forts, her squealing and gibbering, pouring sweat on the verge of ceasing. Your friends built up an intoxicating, delirious state with Talmudic chantings at the sidelines, hitting the Caroline toy with brooms as she tries to escape. Sam would be giggling and laughing as waves of methamphetamine pleasure seemed to harmonize with the droning Hebrew verses. He runs around the beanbag maze, fat and portly, with his Viagra-powered penis, a divining rod for the weasel, sweat gushing down his face and his unfocused eyes as he laughs and chortles until he gasps, "Found you!" The masked weasel screeches defensively, but Wankman Bankman is upon her in seconds, his penis thrusting blindly into her flank, leg, stomach, ribs, unconcerned about anything but the motion. Eventually, serendipity finds her mouth, and the cockatoo rodent is placated, sucking contentedly on the Bankman's dehydrated dick. And that is pinning the weasel.
So bad.
That is, honestly, that guy went to prison because he put that, like, 2 of 10 woman in charge of his trading and lost all the goddamn money. Like,
Dude, I've decided that my Jazane Maxwell character has to be ugly.
Oh, if you're on the if you want to be happy for the rest of your life plan.
No. It's like
The Jimmy Soul.
Unfathomable levels of anger about it.
Oh, okay. Are you gonna find someone who was like ugly, but like it was the type of ugly that's fixable with plastic surgery, like an average Korean,
like Caroline tier ugly?
Oh, like unfixable. Okay. Yeah. Massive reconstruction required. Let's see here. Anyway. I can only summarize my circumstances by saying they took an already abused 7-year-old child and compounded my suffering beyond belief. The saddest part is I know for a fact I was not alone. There were countless other children in my same situation, and there was no one to help us until now. I've already submitted as much information as possible, including conversations overheard at the agencies responsible. I am able to report all of this to you in such detail because of my photographic memory and the arrogance of the people involved. They were certain they would always control my mind. Although the process of recalling these atrocities is not an easy one, nor is it without some danger to myself and my family, I feel the risk is worth taking. Mullen fingered Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, head of the chemical division, and mentions members of the TSD, or Technical Services Division of the CIA, as being the primary co-conspirators in her abuse. In 1958, they told me I was to be tested by some important doctors from the society, or the Human Ecology Society, and I was instructed to cooperate. I was told not to look at anyone's faces and to try hard to ignore any names because this was a very secret project. I was told all these things to help me forget. Naturally, as most children do, I did the opposite and remembered as much as I could. According to Mullen, I was told by Sid Gottlieb that I was ripe for the big A, meaning Project Artichoke. Mullen continued, the next year I was sent to a lodge in Maryland to learn how to sexually please men. Oh, we're doing the Black Swan. Doing the Black Swan program. Mullen said that this was an attempt by high-ranking members of the CIA to fill as many high government agency officials and heads of academic institutions and foundations as possible, so that later when the funding for mind control and radiation started to dwindle, projects would continue. I was used to entrap many unwitting men, including themselves, all with the use of a hidden camera. I was only 9 years old when the sexual humiliation began. I overheard conversations about part of the agency called ORD, which I found out was Office of Research and Development. One occasion, Mullen heard a high-ranking CIA mind control doctor state that in order to keep more funding coming from different sources for radiation and mind control projects, he suggested stepping up the amounts of stressors used and also the blackmail portions of the experiments. He said it needed to be done faster than to get rid of the subjects, or they were asking for us to come back later and haunt them with our remembrances. Mullen said that I would love nothing more than to say that I dreamed this all up and need to just forget. But that would be a tragic mistake. It would also be a lie. All these atrocities did occur to me and countless other children, and all under the guise of defending our country. It is because of the cumulative effects of exposure to radiation, chemicals, drugs, pain, subsequent mental and physical distress that I have been robbed of the ability to work and even to bear children of my own. It is blatantly obvious that none of this was needed, nor would ever have been allowed to take place at all. And the only means we have to seek out the awful truth and bring it to light is by opening whatever files remains on all the projects, and through another presidential commission on mind control. I believe that every citizen of this nation has the right to know what is fact and what is fiction. It is our greatest protection against this ever happening again. In conclusion, I can offer you no more than what I have given you today, the truth. Mullen recalls that one of her terrible to end something with in conclusion. Absolutely awful. Never do that. I believe that every citizen of this nation has the right to know what is fact and what is fiction. It is our greatest protection against this ever happening again. Never mind. Mullen recalls that one of her government tormentors had a Scottish accent and called her lassie. I almost fell off my chair, Mullen's therapist Valerie Wolf recalled, when she saw the film of CIA mind controller Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron addressing a female patient and calling her lassie. Amazing. Later in a radio interview, Claudia Mullen further described the extent of her mind control ordeal, which she says continued from 1957 to 1983. Whoa, that is a long tenure. Get this grandma out of here. I was tested at Tulane and several other places outside of New Orleans. And then once they decided I could become part of the projects, what?
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Tulane? Whoa.
Outside of New Orleans is sketch.
Well,
what were you doing out there, man?
It might not be just outside of New Orleans. It could have been Tulane and some places that were not remotely located.
Outside of the New Orleans city limits for 500 miles in any direction, it's sketch.
500 miles.
It's about how far it is to Dallas.
Amazing. Let's see. Then they once decided I could become part of the projects. They had a series of projects, the Umbrella Project and the Bluebird, which became Artichoke and then became MK Ultra, and each one down the line. Each one had a different purpose. I was taken on train trips, planes, small planes with different military bases. I was taken to places out in the woods. I guess Tulane was the worst, where I could receive intensive electric shock, isolation for days, sleep deprivation where they would attach electrodes to me, and if I started to fall asleep, they would shock me, enough to wake me up. You couldn't sleep for days. The messages would start. Your mother doesn't love you. She left you here. Your mother doesn't want you. You are too much trouble for her. You are a very evil child. You want to hurt people. You want to entice men. All right. Don't clip that. My adoptive father was very ill, and he died when I was very young. So I was taught to take to older men and encouraged to become friendly with older men. And eventually, when I was old enough, I was sent out into what they called the operational field. I would be photographed with government agency officials, CIA, doctors who were consulted, heads of universities and private foundations, all under the chance that if the government funds started to dwindle, they wanted to be able to blackmail or coerce the men into making sure the projects continued. This was the ultimate goal. The projects had to continue at all costs. The idea that the blackmail program was just basically to make sure that grant money would keep coming in is one of the silliest but also most reasonable purposes for why it continued for so long, and well, then continues to this day. Honestly, let's be real. Let's see. They had to train a certain amount of young females to go around, and I was sent to a camp in Maryland for 3 weeks when I was 9 years old. And that was my first training on how to sexually please men. I went through a training course, like a seminar. There were children of all ages, even younger than myself, teenagers, young adults, girls were there. They were all assigned to someone there, and at the end of 3 weeks, we were taught. They decided it was a success. It was a CIA project. It was called imaginative research. They had to give a name to it that they could release and document because they couldn't really put down what it really was.
Imaginative research sounds like everything that's been done in the academy for the last 2 decades.
Right. No shit. It came under the heading MK Ultra, Project 74, and I was subject number 3. I remember we were given a number. We were allowed to choose a name, and after 3 weeks, I was sent home. For the next few years, they worked on making sure I was amnesia controlled, making sure the amnesia barriers were in place, so that if something should ever happen to me, memory should ever start coming back, the pain would come first. I would seek help from doctors who I was taught were the only people who could help me, the good doctors. I was taught that doctors were the answer to everything. I had no reason to disbelieve that because every time I was sent home, I was told, you're a good girl, you're cured, you're going to be just fine, you're going to grow up and have lots of kids. I didn't even realize that they had taken that away from me. I didn't know I couldn't even bear children. According to Mullen, some of her initial programming was done at a camp for boys and girls, run by an official at Tulane University Medical Center. She says that her programming continued until she graduated from high school in 1968, and that by that time, she had been programmed with nearly 100 different personalities. Most of this multicab, you got a multicab void. Most of this material was unknown to her until October 1992, when she was attacked and raped in her home. It took 2.5 years to go to trial, Mullen states, and during the time I was in therapy. That's when the memories started coming back. I would never recommend going back to any place where the abuse happened by yourself because you immediately go into a flashback. We went to some places around New Orleans that I had been to. One was a camp, an arsenal. That's now a police training facility, and they allowed us to go and look around. I went back to Tulane University. I showed her the room. I said, it's room 301. And I described what the hall would look like, what was on the wall. And sure enough, a lot of it was the same. It was exactly the way I described it. Mullen says that she was experimented on at Edgewood Arsenal and is able to verify her account through the memories of some people who were there at the time. Wow, Edgewood Arsenal. Who's writing this? Am I right? Let's see here. Uncle Ted says, fun fact, David Berkowitz has an identical twin brother and was part of the nature versus nurture experiments from the secret study at the adoption agency in New York. Those are I like that twin study. Did you ever hear about that one, Sandbatch?
The really famous one?
Yeah. So there were
I also
there was an adoption there was an adoption agency in New York that split up, that basically they got like all of New York's identical twin adoption cases and split them up and put them in totally different places and tracked them. This is a totally blinded thing. No one knew. Their adoptive parents didn't know. They didn't know. It was really never pass through any sort of it would never pass through any sort of institutional review, but it's one of the most important things, and it's cited in regular psychiatry and psychology studies all the time because the data is incredibly valuable. It's just you can't do it again because it's obviously horrendously evil to do that sort of thing. So, yeah.
I have a terrible thing to tell you, though.
Sex Freakman says, I would never recommend going to therapy. Of course, you're going to remember the rapey.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, the terrible thing.
What is it?
At some point in the next hour, my computer's going to die.
I'm going to harm you, Sandbatch.
If I charge it, I have to unplug my internet.
That's fine.
That means I can't use the computer then.
Well, what? You only have one outlet?
I have only one USB-C cable.
How that's the only thing that can charge your computer?
Yep.
Dear Lord, man. Uber Eats yourself a USB-C cable.
I thought about that, but my phone is dead and it also requires a USB-C.
This fucking guy. Lord.
Onward and upward until my collapse, though.
That's right. Okay. Anyhow,
I'm not tech illiterate, Randall Shirker. I'm tech poor. I'm just poor. Ardo as set up.
Yeah.
I'm just too poor to buy another one. Is that turn off your monitor? The monitor's plugged in. Okay, now if that actually helps, then I will.
Well, it'll preserve a lot of power.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Where are we at?
All right. So let's see here. Mullen says she was Edgewood Arsenal. It did turn out that one of the people that was verifying the information that I said interviewed different people. A couple of times I interviewed people that I actually remembered from my childhood that remembered me. Only they remembered me as Crystal Stone, which was my name back then. Come on, who is writing this? That's what they called me for experiments. Mullen says that Dr. Sidney got whoever was making up the pseudonyms in the CIA at this time period. Not sure if I hate or love them, but yeah, Crystal Stone for the random child who was getting sexually abused. Okay. Mullen says that Dr. Sidney Gottlieb was involved in her programming from 8 years to 16 years, about 8 years.
I've got good news. I turned my monitor off, so we're going to test the Proteus thesis.
Wonderful. The Proteus thesis. The Proteus thesis. Yeah. Well, we'll never know if it would have run out faster, other than just
it's been marching along if it helps, it'll be noticeable.
Okay, great.
We've been marching along at about.
We're doing great.
25% every 30 minutes. So,
all right. Anyway, so of you and Cameron, they called a lot of them in as consultants. Next thing I knew, I would be called back to Tulane, and here was Cameraman, her nickname for him, Cameron. He came in around 1960 when I was about 9 or 10. He was there a lot at first, testing how much electricity was too much. They didn't want to fry my brain or anything because they needed me to seem fairly intelligent because I had to associate with people. 80 is enough, apparently, to pass. Her memories of Dr. Green are extensive. Next to Heath, I guess he had the most authority or whatever you wanted to call it. He was a German doctor. Liam was his first name, but he hated being called anything but Dr. Green. He was the head of the Edgewood Arsenal. That's where his office was, in Fort Detrick, Maryland, but he came to Tulane quite a bit and worked with Dr. Heath on the projects. He told me when I was about 14 or 15, he told one of my shadows, or multiple personalities, the story, how he got involved. He said he was Jewish and he was in concentration camp when the war ended and the Nazis had killed his sister and put him in the camp. He had met the angel of death, Mengele, there, and that was his hero, and he used to love to watch him do experiments on twins and everything. Dr. Green said he was put in the camp when he was 15, but when the war ended, the United States paid to bring him back to the U.S. and put him through medical school. And now they paid him to do these experiments. That's a crazy-ass origin story. I love that origin story. I love that. Like, it sounds like fiction. I don't know if it's true because I've never heard of Greenbaum before. But yeah, interested.
I'm sending you the Greenbaum speech now. I'm hooked on it.
Mullen recalls they had no reason to think they had to hide anything from me. So they would have conversations about the projects, about so-and-so, what he's working on, where he is, where he's from. They would call each other by name. They would have suitcases with their name tags on them, briefcases. I met with Richard Helms, who was deputy director of the CIA for a long time, who also ordered the destruction of the MK Ultra documents, allegedly. Who ordered them maybe they were actually destroyed, allegedly. I met with him lots of times. I mean, I got to know them all on a first name basis. They would say, "Call me uncle." Of course, every now and then they would expect a favor, but then you would be assured that they were not being filmed. Somehow they managed to film almost everything until you got sent out into the field as, an operative to target these officials and get them on film. The idea being they wouldn't want a child who had been abused over a long period of time. They would want a child who was innocent and pure, and this was your first time. You were taught other ways to please men: anal intercourse, oral sex, everything else. Under the umbrella folder, the first one was artichoke, which could produce amnesia and also develop polygraph techniques. There was MK Delta, MK Naomi, which was germ warfare. They were laughing about how they would drop canisters of toxins. They had no idea what the effect was going to have. They would just wait 5 to 10 years and see what the effects of this on this neighborhood was, a poor neighborhood. I was told about using retarded children in East New Orleans and exposing them to large doses of massive.
There we go. New Orleans East. You don't go there, friend.
Exposing them to large doses of massive radiation, and they saw no reason to use them because they were already retarded. It was just waited to see what anomalies would develop over the years. Wow. On October 23rd, 1997, Claudia Mullen was shot. For months, she was hooked up to a respirator and was still undergoing a series of surgeries as of this writing in 1999. She believes that she knows who the assailant was, but is unable to discuss the person's identity pending litigation. Let's look up Miss Mullen. Claudia Mullen. Let's see. I don't know if this is the right one. Yeah. She did write a book, I believe. Oh, here, there's an interview with her she did as recently as 2025. So she's still kicking.
Maybe.
Or she was, probably. I think she did write a book, as far as I recall. But let's see. Did you send me the... you didn't send me the thing. Oh, you did.
I did.
You did. All right, the Greenbaum speech. 19 pages. Do we want to just read the Greenbaum speech?
Maybe at some point. Do you want to do it now? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, we got an hour and a half, and it's 19 pages.
Well, I don't have an hour and a half.
Well, okay, all right. Well, then we'll save the.
I'm at 19, so this does not appear to be slowing the bleed.
That's right. We'll just do the Greenbaum speech as a special at some point. So we'll dock it.
Only if you need super chats.
Yeah. Okay. $20. Give us $20. We'll do the special.
Yep.
$20. $20.
Oh, you'll buy me a hot dog.
Buy me a hot dog. All right. Anyway, chapter 18. Bryce Taylor. Vulpus Persona, do the rest of the show on 2x. That's not a thing that a person can do. All right. Well, unless you're Ben Shapiro. This is his one power, talking it natural 1.5x. Chapter 18, Bryce Taylor. Other believed survivors of government mind control programs have come forward to tell their stories. One such person is the pseudonymous Bryce Taylor. Born in 1951, Taylor speaks without hesitation about being a victim of CIA mind control programming. Although, in an interview with the author, she confides that she fears one day all of the information that she has stored in her mind will suddenly come pouring forth and overwhelm her. Taylor recalls that after a 1985 auto accident in which her head was smashed through a windshield, she began recovering memory, experiencing flashbacks of her programming and mind-controlled missions. Beginning in 1988, Taylor sought deprogramming from a therapist. Her therapy continued every day for 6 years, and she spent, according to her estimate, a total of $300,000 on recovery. Wow, I guess those missions paid pretty good. In an attempt to escape mind control, Taylor left her husband and children, whom she believes are still victims of programming, Okay, this is sounding a little more like she's actually just crazy. Let's see. At present, the mind programming of her 20-year-old daughter is breaking down. Taylor relates to me so that the woman is currently in a near catatonic state, drooling and in diapers. In an attempt to escape mind control, Taylor left her husband and children, whom she believes are still victims of programming. At present, the mind programming of her 20-year-old daughter is breaking down. Yeah. Taylor relates to me so that the woman is in a near catatonic state, drooling and in diapers. According to Taylor, from infancy, her personality was progressively shattered by her father. She believes that he was also a victim of programming and used CIA dissociative techniques on her in order to transform her into a mind-controlled slave. Taylor believes that from childhood, she was sold as a prostitute and used in pornography. She states that all the Baptist Sunday schools she attended as a child, the minister and secretary of the church practiced witchcraft. Well, of course, they're Protestants. They're not in,
Protestants have never done witchcraft even a single time.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're not following Rome. Let's see here. According to practices witchcraft. In a short memoir of her experiences, Taylor reported, "I started menstruating. This heralded abuse and rituals involving getting raped and impregnated, sometimes twice a year. When the fetuses were 2 to 3 months old, they were aborted at rituals and ingested to fulfill the beliefs of the group that it made those participating more powerful. These were devastating, deeply traumatizing, and painful experiences that were repressed along with the other traumas." Bryce Taylor believes that throughout childhood, she was abused and programmed at military bases, including Edwards Air Force Base, 29 Palms, and Point Mugu Naval Base. Among these techniques, she says, were employed on her were sensory deprivation chambers, spin chambers, and light and sound entertainment technologies. She says that she was programmed at a number of other locations, including Barking Sands Missile Base in Hawaii and UCLA Neuropsychiatric Institute. Who was the head of that? Where drugs, light, sound, and sophisticated computerized methods were used on her under the supervision of Louis Jolyon West. There we go. Taylor, we got there. We got there, folks. We got Jolly West. We got Jolly West. It's always a fun day when we get a report of Jolly West.
This whole show is of Where's Waldo,
Jolly West.
Ganner tier, Where's Waldo, and he's everywhere.
Right. He's everywhere. Yeah. Taylor reports that her owner was a popular Hollywood entertainer whom she names. He was much more than an entertainer. Entertainment was actually just a clever hobby of his. I witnessed his participation as a strategically placed, influential, and integrated part of an underworld group that secretly sought to control the world. He maintained direct ties to the White House. Man, the more things change, huh? She recalls that for her 16th birthday, her husband-to-be, she was already engaged. Amazing. Surprised her with a visit by train to the San Diego Zoo. According to Taylor, once on the train, she was delivered to a private car where the entertainer, a well-known politician, and 2 other men awaited her. I had sex with each of them as the others watched. The ultimate cuckold. Starlight was the name the entertainer gave her. Starlight was one of my alter personalities. She was to become his starlet. The entertainer took me to several of Hugh Hefner's penthouse parties in Los Angeles. There were windows all around, and at night you could see all the twinkling lights of the city. According to Taylor, she was prostituted to members of the Rat Pack of Hollywood celebrities. Well, you should fucking thank them because, Sinatra, he didn't need to pay for it.
As far as being prostituted to people go, this is probably as good as it gets.
It does seem like that. As an adult, Taylor says that she had fully taken on the characteristics of multiple personality. Presidential model mind slave used as a courier, a sexual toy for government leaders, and other world figures. She says that she was also used as a human tape recorder to store the text of secret documents by the use of her photographic memory. This was done so that these high-level players could communicate without records or photographic records or physical connections within their cabal. A group whose total intention is to bring about a fascist new world order. God, if only it were true. If only that particular part was true. Taylor alleges that she was programmed to sexually service politicians. I was used extensively on and around 1968 by top politicians, guaranteed by the Central Intelligence Agency that my training at Project Monarch ensured the highest level of security. I'm getting a lot of feedback from your end, like I can hear my own voice.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. I was used extensively on top politicians, CIA, training Project Monarch, and served the highest level of security. The level of mind control I possessed guaranteed that I could be used with these leaders who were involved in the highest level of national security without my own awareness. Taylor says she went to Alcatraz and other locations and saw mind control programming being done at those sites. Taylor indicates that she was also prostituted to several presidents. Was the 1968? So, who were the several presidents? Let's see. Sammy Davis Jr. was processed church, says Uncle Ted. I did not know that. That's interesting. I thought he converted to Reform Judaism. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Yeah, right. Uncle Ted, she was a hoe that blew politicians. We have OnlyFans for that now. Yeah, I mean, like, what is an Instagram model, right? Like, people just DDD themselves and they're like, oh yeah, all right, here you go. Here's the goods. You know, pay this much. Anyhow. What many of the CIA may or may not have been aware of was that a powerful group of men, whom I will call the Council, secretly ran the government. The Council was also able to access me and had programmed me to subversively influence top government officials in ways that benefited them. The CIA's latest technology was being used against our own government. The Council studied people's psychological profiles and knew exactly what their likes and dislikes were, their sexual preferences, what perfumes they liked, and any other information that could be used to influence individuals in ways of which they were never even aware. The Council would pre-program me with instructions, all based on careful research of the targeted person, of what to wear, how to act, what types of sexual stance to take, specific words or phrases to say, and the best time to deliver them. The Council always worked up a complete strategy and never sent me to a person unprepared. Taylor has penned an autobiography titled Starshine, written in fictionalized format, she says, in order to protect her from reprisal. And as of May 1999, has finished a more complete statement of her experiences called Thanks for the Memories. The Truth Has Set Me Free. Perhaps the most persuasive validation of Taylor's recollections come from mind control researcher Walter Boert, who recalled seeing Taylor at a charity event in Palm Springs in the company of the entertainer who she says allegedly controlled her. He says that she was just another of many hostess types that you would find working the parties in the Coachella Valley. Other physical proof consists of what she characterizes as numerous stun gun marks on her body. What is the truth about what happened to Bryce Taylor? Admittedly, her story is incredible, outrageous, and bears little resemblance to what is commonly thought of as reality. Because of the outlandish details of her story, linking mind control programming to various prominent entertainers and politicians, one is tempted to reject it out of hand. Difficulty is that, when speaking with her, one does not detect lying. Okay. Yeah. Uncle Ted says, I think OnlyFans is a nice way of laundering money. Well, I mean, any sort of distributed donation system is pretty easy to launder fucking money through. Like, let's be real. If you were going to be a money launderer, one of the easiest ways to do it would be just playing video games on like Twitch, right? Just pay the taxes, take your cut, pay it out to whoever, easy peasy. Like, it's the simplest shit in the world. So, anyway, not that you should do that. Oh yeah, I mean, casinos, obviously. I mean, there's always the whole areas of the world have massive casino industries just because of the money laundering operations. Like, Macau only exists because, like, rich Chinese people want to get money out of China, and the easiest way to do it is to go to Macau, put all your money in, play one hand, and then cash it out into a different currency. Like, yeah.
This is a thing that I just learned about last week because of my Australian friend, and he was explaining to me that Macau literally exists more or less for this purpose. It's just gambling.
Yeah, that's right. It really is just like getting money out of China. Like, there's all sorts of dollars flow through Macau into investments throughout Southeast Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Americas. Basically, and this is not even necessarily like government Chinese money, right? Not all of it is. Some of it obviously is, but they don't need to hide anything when they're doing something necessarily. So, yeah. Proteus getting into streaming for the money laundering, but falling in love with the profession, right? Chapter 19. Catherine Sullivan. Catherine Sullivan speaks plainly, without hesitation, with a hint of a southern accent, offering a wealth of detail to flesh out an incredible story. As she speaks, one cannot help but wonder if what she says is a particularly twisted brand of science fiction. But the ease with which the woman answers questions put to her and her sense of sincerity is compelling. Finally, one fears that she is telling the truth. Sullivan says that she realized that something was terribly wrong when it became apparent that she did not have many childhood memories. Born in 1955, it was only in 1990, while in treatment for codependency with her daughter, that she began to have memories of sexual abuse and torture by her father, as well as experiences of cultic ritual abuse. Later, in a hospital in Dallas, Texas, so 500 miles isn't quite far enough, is it, Sandbatch? Sullivan uncovered what she believes is another whole layer of programming. She began to remember being imprinted with CIA assassin programming, which she believes was inadvertently activated during the course of her therapy, causing her to attempt to kill hospital nurses and staff. Sullivan says that memories of being programmed to become an assassin came back to her before she knew anything about the subject of intelligence agency mind control, that her initial reaction was denial. Eventually, however, she says that she could deny her memories no longer. She finally had to admit to herself that she had been utilized in government mind control operations for 20 years. During the years that followed, Sullivan remembered many more details of her programming. She came to believe that she had been victimized from the time she was 6 or 7 years old by members of the CIA, NSA, and other groups and individuals. According to Sullivan, her principal programmer was her father, an electrical, mechanical, and chemical engineer who worked for AT&T. She says he was employed in overseas work for the CIA, and also worked as an interpreter in the infamous Operation Paperclip, transferal of Nazis to the U.S. He was also, according to Sullivan, the head of a satanic coven in Reading, Pennsylvania. She believes that her father had been programmed as a child and that her mother was definitely a multiple. In other words, a person who has been programmed to have multiple personalities.
This is
Sullivan. What?
I'm having one of these days when this affects me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that perhaps you feel that you have seen a meta multiple in your own life?
Yeah.
Do you feel that you have been programmed, Sandbatch?
No.
This is what Sandbatch has uncovered suppressed memories live on air.
I've done that before.
You've done that before. Yeah.
I've done that before on this show. I'm pretty sure that was Geo. We just cracked this thing wide open.
And by this thing, I mean Christopher Sandbatch.
No, but it just reminds me so much of someone. It's terrifying.
Yeah. The snow. You're gonna have some deep conversations with the snow leopard, I think.
No, I think she's. Well, I don't know. I'm sure she'll resurface.
That one. The bad penny.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Keeps coming up. Let's see. Sullivan has said 2 older male relatives from my childhood were also involved with Dad in criminal black activities that included. Whoa, Catherine. Yeah. Just because it's criminal,
the B word around.
doesn't mean it's black. All right. Black activities that included ritual murders and orgies attended by invited guests, ditty parties, kiddie pornography, filmed bestiality, black marketing of dismembered parts, pickled in glass jars of formaldehyde, and more. Around age 8, Dad began to force me to sit by myself on an altar each week, usually late on Friday nights. I would watch in horror and great grief as he and his criminal associates would murder and mutilate quite a few humans, from babies on up to adults. They would usually accuse the adult victims of having been traitors, which also conditioned me to believe that to talk is to die. I was forced to ingest small, raw pieces of the murder victims' bodies, and was usually forced to eat excrement, drink urine, and drink human blood, often laced with powdered opium. On several occasions, I was also forced to ingest human brain matter. Get a prion disorder. Don't do that. According to Sullivan, her father was a confidant of CIA super spook, James Jesus Angleton.
He was a super spook.
Who also programmed her. Early on, she recalls, she was offered as a piece of human chattel to the White House, usually referred to by her programmers as 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but which was also called the Hub and Emerald City. The president, she says, was referred to as Oz or God, and she was conditioned to return to the White House like a homing pigeon. Another of her programmers was a mysterious Dr. Black, aka Dr. Schwartz, a tall man with curly black hair who spoke German fluently, and whose primary interest in research seemed to be the study of aspects of aggression. She calls Dr. Black a major figure in her childhood and remembers that his office was a black train car whether it actually traveled on railway tracks, she does not remember. That is some fucking James Bond villain shit.
Everything about everyone in all of our books is James, except for None Dare Call It Conspiracy.
No way, man. A fucking black train car being your HQ is like that's like a level of I mean that is the Mighty Monarch right there. Anyway, another of her programmers was a mysterious never mind. Sullivan claims that one of her mind controllers was Henry Kissinger. Yes. Of whom she says, I still love Henry Kissinger, even though I should be absolutely furious at him. I haven't found that anger yet. She states that Kissinger was one of the few controllers who did not rape her and was a very lonely man, an absolute genius, and a lot of pain and fog somewhere. Oddly, she still has a degree of respect for him because he was honest about being a bastard. You know what? I got to admit, sounding more credible. Let's see here. Sullivan believes that the Luciferians see the lower classes as cattle and are determined to phase out what they consider to be inferior races, if only. They are determined to create a one world order where Luciferianism can be openly practiced and where such activities as pedophilia and bestiality will be legalized. Johnny Walt for $2 says non-zero chance her account is a prion disorder. Yeah, don't eat Catherine Sullivan's brain, folks. Just don't eat it.
You heard you heard that important advice here.
Yeah, heard that here. Don't eat human brain matter. Yeah. Okay. What is another word for cattle?
Cal.
Yeah. Think of a different language. Think of a different language that might use this word a disproportionate amount to refer to certain people.
Bovine, the French.
Yes. I for some reason I can't highlight it, but it seems that Uncle Ted has the answer in chat. So anyway, let's see here. Sullivan believes that the Bilderbergers are at the top of the heap in terms of international control. The top of the top, she says. The top tops. Everyone else is the bottomest bottom. And remarks that the members of the group associate mainly with each other, thus fostering a cultish mentality in their ranks. Well, sneak in there, Alex Jones. Other groups that Sullivan was involved with or was aware of included the Austrian Order of the Reich, actively working under supervision of the Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, and the Rothschild to create a new world government. The Black Brotherhood, with direct ties to the Vatican, American military intelligence, and the CIA. The Order of the Golden Dragon, Asian ties, American, small, politically powerful group, elite. Black Star Rising, consider them to be the antithesis of the Order of the Golden Dawn. That would be the people who consider themselves to be the antithesis of the Golden Dawn would be the Thelemites.
Warning, I'm going to disappear almost any moment now.
Okay, he's good. NOWD, the Nazi Order for World Domination, one of the think tank groups actively planning world takeover, i.e. neo-Nazi government, to be accomplished by the year 2000. Well, missed that plan. Good job, assholes. The plan or public or political liberation for all nations, a belief system and plans based on Orwellian society presented in 1984. Man, there's nothing worse than fandom, am I right? The organization, a new, more streamlined, large, radical terroristic neo-Nazi organization based in Alabama and Mississippi, which, as of this writing, has not been responsible for any terrorist attacks. So, very streamlined.
Incredible. Most people never go into like the Alabama, Mississippi shit. I mean, like you'll get some Florida stuff like Finder's Cult every now and then, but they're really digging into they're really digging the shovels in here.
Yep. A Knights of the Golden Armor, an elite subgroup of the Black Brotherhood.
Whoa, hold on.
What?
Knights of the what?
Golden Armor. The Code, an organization composed of top worldwide New Age and occultic channelers. Okay. Society of the Inner Light, metaphysical mystical group, one of 5 main Illuminati families. Western Mysteries, occultic organization, also one of the 5 main Illuminati families. BNO, the Brave New Ones or Order, a group of newer generation of politically active Illuminati members, newer, more radical beliefs and plans to create a worldwide Orwellian society. Wolfen, the neo-Nazi secret underground organization, Hitler, their idol, based in Western Germany, at least partly. Militaristic, they use semi-automatic weapons and practice paramilitary takeover of various countries. War games. Wow, semi-auto weapons. Really? Semi-automatic? Thornless Rose, a more local Satanist criminal cult practicing in the Southwest. Wow, I hate the globalist national chain Satanist cults. I like the local ones more. The Brotherhood of the Hand, the last known to be headquartered in Louisiana, a local criminal occultic group, the head of which is Christopher Sandbatch. The AOR, or Italia Aori. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. That was it. They took him. AOR, or Italia Aori, standing for Austrian Order of the Reich. Interesting. The purpose of the company was to bring world leaders to facilities where they were taught to increase theta brainwave activity. Once there, they would be recruited to a Nazi one world orientation. One approach to the creation of the New World Order, Sullivan says, is by the promotion of Gaia worship. Sullivan says that she was told that Benjamin Cream's exclusive messiah, Maitreya, will be the main public figure used in the transition to the New World Order, and that other leading Christian evangelists would be the means to convert the world to Luciferianism. And this is why I don't talk about the Kali Yuga as if it is a real thing, because the Maitreya Buddha is the one who is supposed to usher in the end times under Buddhism, which is basically a direct copy of the Kali Yuga mythology of Hinduism. She states that many Luciferians are involved in the Golden Dawn occultic organization, which has many members in Washington, D.C. Slander. I will not hear slander on my man, William Butler Yeats. Sullivan believes that she participated in ritual sacrifice performed by her father since the time she was 4 years old. She indicates that another child of her father by a later marriage was also sexually abused by him. She believes that he traumatized her, as well as many other children, in order to split off parts of their personalities into many alters for mind control programming. Sullivan also states that screen memories and scrambles, injecting false details into her memory, were used to cover up what had been done to her, and operations that she had been forced to engage in. Drugs, hypnosis, and electric stun guns, as well as the use of virtual reality systems, were used to program her, as well as to make it nearly impossible for her to access her own mental programming. The list of covert intelligence operations that Sullivan believes she engaged in is long. Smuggling of drugs and children, being a courier of information, programming of children, disposing of bodies, participating in porn movies, torture, interrogation, sex with political dignitaries, the seduction of female politicians and wives of politicians. Ooh, Lisbo. When employed as a bodyguard, she was called Plain Jane and dressed in a brown jacket and skirt. She believed her usefulness as a bodyguard was because she was not an identifiable employee of any agency. She also was utilized for assassination, and remembers putting a poisonous substance in the lemonade of a cult of young people, perhaps in a foreign country. Another assassination technique was scratching people through their clothes with a pin that stuck out of her purse. The pin was coated with a fast-acting poison. By my 18th birthday, my assassin and ops training was complete. I was introduced to other members of what I was told was Illuminati. I was then made to join a religious mind-controlled cult during the 3.5-year stint. My previous programming was overlaid by the religious God submission spiritual realm programming. My basic personality was further split into two almost completely separated parts, because I had also been extensively sexually abused by one female relative in particular during my childhood. A number of split off parts of my personality had been further conditioned to sexually service females. This was another business bonus for my father and the other owners. I was occasionally assigned to service wives of politicians, both locally and otherwise. To the best of my recollection, most, if not all of them, were members of a secret pagan organization. Though a number of lesser gods and goddesses were mentioned in their rituals, the main god was known to me as Ra. Let's see. Geo says, I did a whole content minded on the Maitreya and the days of the law in Mahayana Buddhism based on an old letter I found. Can't find it on the internet. Interesting. Let's see. Some of the women would get together around high noon in privately owned greenhouses or rooms with overhead windows to practice divination and do Greco-Roman type rituals. They would dress in distinctive garments and would drink a clear, gelled liquid containing what seemed to be tiny yellow flecks that seemed to sparkle when a clear glass container of the liquid was held up to direct sunlight. The women called the odd, clear liquid the elixir of life. Approximately 2 years ago, while skimming through Tex Marr's book on the New Age cults and religions for verification concerning these memories, I discovered the true ingredient of the elixir of life. Human cum. Gross. At least they're straight, right? You know, just ladies just guzzling it. I believe that many people would be deeply shocked to learn how many politicians and other leaders in our society are practicing pagans, going to church on Sundays and then gathering together to do secret pagan rituals. Often in female gatherings, I was forced to do female-female sex with participants. It is no surprise to me that Hillary Clinton placed a sun ornament atop the White House Christmas tree several years ago. Absolutely codes as a total dyke, for sure. Sullivan has identified a large number of participants in Washington, D.C. some of them prominent politicians or the wives of the same, but has also asked me not to divulge their identities. She has also provided a transcript of a long occultic ceremony she remembers that was practiced at these meetings. One of the facilities where she believes she was conditioned was called the School or the Fortress, where she received some type of surgery on her head. There were other children there, with units designated A, B, and C, and the Romper Room. There she recalls children being indoctrinated into government ops conditioning, part of which involved disemboweling teddy bears. Nowadays, we just call that the Build-A-Bear Workshop. Another facility, she recalls, was in Reading, Pennsylvania, where there was a building with large theatrical stages. She remembers being there at the age of 8 and remembers being forced to kill men who were dressed like street bums. God, you know what? I'm coming around on it. I'm coming around on if we're getting rid of the bums. I still don't want to actually believe that I killed these men at my age, she says, suggesting that the event may have been staged, a mock murder meant to traumatize her. This and another location where Sullivan believes she was programmed have been tentatively identified in the Reading area. Another programming location was Coffeesville, Maryland. She was taken from public school to a facility consisting of several trailers and pavilions. There she was given chameleon training and shown how to behave around dignitaries. Just code switching, right? According to Sullivan, she was programmed by NASA personnel at various locations, including Huntsville, Alabama, Houston, Texas, Cape Canaveral, Florida, and Goddard Air Force Base outside of Washington, D.C. At Goddard, she says that the programmers dressed in Star Trek uniforms in order to confuse and discredit the memories of those they programmed. They scramble in their memory. That's actually a hilarious op. That's really fucking funny. You just like dress up like a stupid space alien and like a $5 drugstore mask just to fuck with them a little bit more. It's like, no one's gonna believe you, fucking asshole. Yeah. She believes that at Goddard, she was hooked up to a helmet that was linked to a computer system, apparently some kind of virtual reality system, since when she closed her eyes, the images would flash in front of her face. Oh, George Hayduke is asking the important questions. The original series or the next generation? Absolutely important. Vulpus persona. Uhuru, what are you doing, stepmother? Yeah, very true. Man, this is so this is what this would have been. This would have had to have been the original series because it was the 80s. So I don't think that the next generation started until the mid 90s. Could be wrong though. I'm not like a huge. I mean, I've watched it, but I'm not a huge Star Trek guy, so I don't know the dates. Let's see. Sullivan describes alleged NASA conditioning, calling her father time training. Hugh Janus and Vulpus Persona both tell me that that the next generation started in 87. So I mean, it could have been the next generation. Definitely the better of the two, in my opinion. But I did grow up with it, so maybe who knows. Anyway, Sullivan describes alleged NASA conditioning called father time training, which involved real or imaginary dimensional travel. Sullivan says that NASA specialized in time folding and going back in time, at least in our minds. Okay. The children involved in these programs read Madeleine L'Engle's juvenile science fiction books, including A Wrinkle in Time, about dimensional traveling children. Sullivan believes that NASA is trying to find ways to explore alternate dimensions and that this kind of programming really messed up my head. More likely, they were trying to see if they could control the content of delusory episodes, in my opinion, but sure. By 1991, interestingly, before Dr. Hammond's voicing of his own discoveries about mind control, as confirmed by dated drawings that she has sent the author, Sullivan had come to the conclusion that there were 5 principal mind control programming systems, closely paralleling the systems that Hammond later described. Another form of verification that is important to me, she states, is that I was remembering and diagramming my programming, alpha, beta, delta, theta, and omicron. back in the summer of 1991, years before anyone else came forward and exposed that stuff. When I received independent verifications that the programs exist and that they are used the way I had remembered, I was very depressed and upset. I had wanted this stuff to be fantasy. Alpha, she says, is the most basic programming. Beta, also referred to as Barbie, she believes this type of programming was invented by the Nazi Klaus Barbie, is sexual programming. Delta is military programming involving loyalty and submission. Theta is programming is also called psychic killers and involves the programming of mental energy and telepathic killing and to influence events. She also performed remote viewing, which may have been a subset of this type of programming. Omicron, she says, was special programming for mind control programs run by the mafia. She has detailed a number of programming techniques that she believes are used, including electroshock to the head and spine, a neck choker to shock her throat, and the injection of a drug related to the South American drug curare that would paralyze her so that she could not move but could still think and feel. Let's see. According to Sullivan, one technique that her father specialized in was shell programming, which she alleges took place at or near Georgia Technical University. There, she just used Unix. Their children were programmed to split personalities by being placed in large paper mache shells where gallons of bugs were poured on them. Amazing. Some children went catatonic, which Sullivan indicates was not an acceptable outcome. When used as codes, the numerals 3, 2, and 1 all had to do with CIA activities. The numeral 0 specified an inactive case or agent. Naomi was a code used to specify biochemical projects, while Birdcage indicated a location where biochemical weapons were kept. Sullivan recalls that mind control subjects were frequently programmed through music, including chords, sequences of notes, and lyrics. Music by the Beatles was used more than any other type, but also Pink Floyd, used in NASA programming, and The Who, especially portions of the rock opera Tommy. Movies were also used as programming devices, with the most common being The Wizard of Oz and Disney's Alice in Wonderland. Some of the designations for projects that she remembered participating in. Also, by the way, very normie, like, come on, get some new material, guys. At least use, like, Return to Oz, which is really, like, way weirder than The Wizard of Oz. But some of the designations for projects that she remembers participating in or was aware of were C-base, or C, the letter C hyphen base, Goldilocks, Massacre, Sandstone, Royal India, Dot Purple or Deep Purple, Larkspur, Chronic Headache, Marigold, Z-Bomb, Top Hat, Messiah, Overlord. You participated in Operation Overlord at fucking D-Day? Fire and Ice, Delta Blue, Deep Blue, Blowfish. Code Failsafe was a system for creating amnesia and mind control victims. One computer system was referred to as Brandon. Okay, Brandon. Fuck Brandon. Gold Star Operation Systems and Mongoose were supposedly the brainchild of George Bush, the HW, not W. The Link is apparently a liaison operation between NSA and NASA. Centipede is an information compartmentalization system in the CIA and National Security Agency. A mind control program that created an entire fantasy world in a person's mind was called Heaven's Gate. Amazing. Mensa, not connected to the organization of the same name, was a program for using genius IQ mind control victims in think tanks. Okay, well, how is it not related? Pax Romana and The Plan were Aryan-related code names. Project Armageddon had to do with war games and preparation for World War III, with the Keys of Solomon providing code information for the Armageddon scenario. According to Sullivan, the CIA and the KGB have been working together for many years, with cross-training taking place in Russia, while at the same time being in competition. KGB codes included Dark Chocolate, Sasha, Mink, and Ermine. And CIA numerical code -1, -2, and -3 referred to the KGB. Sullivan remembers that there was a location near Dallas where a UFO where a full-size UFO equipped with hydraulic lift had been transported to or constructed in a large room. Our understanding is that the government UFOs were based on World War II German technology, and that there are several UFO bases that are currently in operation, including one in the Himalayas and another at an underwater base near Hawaii. Inside the UFO, where it would be a bad place because it's seismically active and also volcanically active. If you're going to have an underwater base, you probably want to put it in a place that was not like that. But all right, just saying. Inside the UFO were people that looked like aliens, and this UFO prop was used to make people think that they had been abducted by extraterrestrials. It's literally doing exactly what I said a minute ago. Based upon the bragging of her father and other information, Sullivan believes that these aliens were first created in German labs during World War II experiments on embryos. She calls these pseudo-aliens the children, and said that they are programmed so that they believe they are extraterrestrials. That is not what I just said. That is a complete other level of psyop. That is fucking hilarious. I want that to be true. I don't think that's true, but I really want that to be true. That they made deformed little green Yakubians and psyop them to think that they were aliens. I love it. Sullivan claims to have met several of the children, including one young boy who spoke English in what was referred to as the trilateral language. Amazing. Oh my God. Trilateral language. I love trilateral. The Trilateral Commission is made of vat-grown aliens, containing lots of clicks and symbolic gestures. She also says that she met several breeders of these mutated humans, and that one distinguishing characteristic is that some wear a bird's nest haircut, shaved partway around the top of their head, also like a capuchin monk, like a tonsure. Yeah. Sullivan believes that the purpose of faking UFOs and aliens is to prepare the people of the world to believe in aliens. She explains that she has heard discussions about the possibility of a fake UFO invasion that would psychologically decimate the population so that they would gladly submit to total control. Be hilarious. Sex Freakman in chat says, so you're telling me they reverse engineered the Chinese? They're recreating the Chinese from first principles. According to Sullivan, she heard other possible plans for initiating the New World Order, including using Christian evangelists to push the belief in the tribulation or the last days of the earth. Sullivan says that she was led to believe that AIDS was created specifically to key into the belief in the biblical revelations. Probably should have made something that people other than gay men caught. Let's see. Another possibility was talked about was the assassination of a president, providing the opportunity for FEMA to take over the country and to institute total control. Evaluating Sullivan's statement, her description of some aspects of the New World Order sound too reminiscent of the stock and trade conspiracy literature. This suggests contamination of her story by reading the work of others. In fact, Sullivan at one point mentioned that she had read something by radio evangelist and conspiracy author Tex Mars. It does not, however, disprove that she was the victim of mind control. I mean, honestly, if you wanted to get mind control victims all confused, some of the memories you should implant are like random, ridiculous bullshit. So, I mean, like some of what was just alleged. Just so that if they ever do start recovering any of the suppressed memories, that they get a whole lot of noise in that signal. Yeah. Sorry, where was I? Also, I mean, another thing is that, like, clearly, if you're planning on using a religiously based sort of psychological operation, you have to have more people who believe in things. And the government has not really done like a great job of encouraging people to be believing Christians. So, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, let's see. In terms of physical evidence, Sullivan has said in correspondence with the author, I have little round white stun gun marks all over my forearms and on other parts of my arms and legs. There might be some on other parts of my body too, but I can't see them. An investigator, a police officer in Atlanta verified without my saying what I knew that they were stun gun marks. I have a discoloration on the left side of my head, eyelashes and eyebrow, where Dad used to make a blank gun go off. I don't have much physical evidence because every 10 years or so, my then current handler would make me literally throw or give away everything I owned, right down to my bed sheets and all my jewelry, and start from scratch again. I guess that was their way of making sure I wasn't holding on to any evidence. Another form of verification offered by Sullivan to the author is a lengthy series of lecture notes that her father used for what was apparently a philosophical self-help class that he taught. What these notes show is a wide-ranging familiarity with psychological and philosophical teachings, with several interesting emphases. He mentions the use of chemotherapy, surgery, and shock therapy in psychiatry, the work of Dr. Jose Delgado, as well as ancient sacrifices of children, Delgado being the one who worked on the physical control of the mind, of course, both remote control using like microwave and radio interference, as well as implants, lots of implants, big fan of implants. He also references Rush's mental reconditioning and TV flash techniques and editing. Obviously, her father was not completely unaware of mind control techniques. Sullivan has also provided a photocopy of a letter from a district attorney in Georgia. I respect her desire for me to not be more specific than that. That confirms that her father was arrested for sexually molesting her half-brother. In the letter, the DA states, I feel we would have been successful at trial because the evidence against him was overwhelming, and also because he had some made admissions to the charge. But before he could go to trial, her father committed suicide. All right. You love to hear it. You love to hear it when when pedos do that. Let's see. Letter from a district attorney in Georgia, name withheld at request, dated January 30th, 1990, should be pretty easy to figure out who it was. I mean, like, let's be real. Anyhow, Evaluating Monarch, Chapter 20. We're going to finish this one. It looks like it's just a couple pages, and then we're going to call it. So since Sandy is not here. Let's see. Evaluating Monarch. The problem with evaluating the account of many believed. Hold on 1 second. So Uncle Ted in chat, you're talking about AIDS was in Atlanta, and the alt child murdered Fauci, CDC in Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that the government didn't have anything to do with HIV. I'm saying that what Sullivan said, where the existence of AIDS would cause a global panic that would result in the end time, that would make people think that it was the end times, is a little silly. So yeah, I mean, like, yes, it was definitely involved. We know many things about HIV now that was considered to be a conspiracy thinking back in the day. But yeah. The problem with evaluating the account of many believed victims of mind control is the problem with psychological therapy itself. It is ultimately a subjective process in which the patient is influenced by the therapist by the patient. It is a private process where two persons collaborate to hopefully heal the patient and bring forth the truth about what happened. Sometimes that goal is not accomplished. Let's see. Uncle Ted says, so you're saying it didn't come from a dude fucking a monkey or eating a monkey, right? Which is, I think, the actual like eating a uncooked bushmeat is the accusation. Zoonotic explanations are very elegant because they don't require any explanation, or they don't require any like actual documentary evidence. It is just simply it is a just so story in many cases, and so we know from COVID-19 that the zoonotic origin was just not true. So, and it was something that was extremely easy to make up and that would be accepted because it's very difficult to verify that. Like we know that escaped a lab 100% now. So it's yeah. So I'm not saying that that is an issue. There are actually diseases that do have zoological origins. I certainly believe that is the case. I don't know which one is true of AIDS, but the spread of HIV was actually. But the spread of HIV was actively encouraged in several places, and it was introduced in other areas. So, anyway, in some cases, the accounts of believed victims may have been influenced by the tales of others. There may be references, things that they have read or heard from others. Thus, not to make light of such things. An incident of childhood sexual abuse might be turned into an abusive encounter with a prominent politician. A childhood nightmare of cloaked Satan worshippers might be remembered as fact. Daddy's clients in the insurance trade might fit all the earmarks of members of the Illuminati. Even Dr. Colin Ross, a well-known researcher on multiple personality disorder and mind control, admits this difficulty in evaluating these cases. You cannot tell just by listening to a patient's story. You can't tell that it is true. Also, you can't tell that it is false. In other words, you can't tell without some sort of outside proof. That is proof that it really occurred or proof that it didn't happen. What I have learned, especially in the last 5 years, there is really no limit to how detailed, how compelling, how full of feeling, and how detailed a bunch of memories can be and actually be totally real or never have happened. I have worked with people who have had really elaborate memories of all kinds of things with tremendous amounts of detail, and then we have been able to prove that it never happened. You cannot tell. While there is no question that many people have been the victims of mind control and ritual abuse, in my opinion, far more than have ever been acknowledged, there are also many people who proclaim themselves mind control victims whose accounts I do not find entirely credible. Like copycat criminals, there seem to be copycat victims who source their current problems to the stories of others who may or may not be actual victims themselves. Let's see. An example of possible delusion and contamination in the memory of an alleged mind control victim is the story of Pat Burgess, who in the mid-'80s experienced postpartum delivery trauma after the birth of her second son. Prior to that time, Burgess seems to have lived a normal life and to have had no psychological problems. Complaining of depression, Burgess consulted hypnotherapist Anne Marie Bauman, who over the course of many visits came to believe that she had discovered at least 30 personalities within the recesses of Burgess's psyche. Feeling that a therapist more experienced in multiple personality disorder was called for, Bauman referred Burgess to Dr. Bennett Braun, who ran a clinic at the well-known Rush Presbyterian St. Luke's Medical Center in Chicago. In March of 1986, Burgess checked into Braun's clinic. During the course of her therapy, Braun prescribed large doses of psychoactive drugs for Burgess, including halcyon, which is known in some cases to induce hallucinations. Braun came to believe that he had eventually summoned forth 300 hidden personalities in Burgess, and that the woman had been a leader in a worldwide satanic cult that had engaged in numerous murders, cannibalism, rape, and other crimes. Braun, it is reported, had long believed in a huge satanic cult engaging in mind control and ritual abuse, and at one point, according to Burgess, told her that the Pope was the head of the cult and had sexually abused her son. Burgess called the FBI to investigate, having heard her stories, they chose not to pursue the matter. Okay. Both of Burgess's sons, aged 3 and 5, were checked into the hospital for evaluation and put on a course of drugs and therapy. Spending 3 years in the locked child psychiatry department of the hospital. Well, that's a great site to induce a bunch of memories. After 27 months in the hospital, Burgess went home. She has concluded that her beliefs that she was a member of a satanic cult and engaged in murder were the product of the mind-altering drugs that she was prescribed, the paranoid worldview of Dr. Braun, and the multiple personality disorder unit at Rush Presbyterian. Burgess sued Dr. Braun and hospital, who settled out of court for $10.6 million. If you could get drugged in a mind control unit for 27 months and then get a $10.6 million settlement, would you do it? Me? 100% yes. Braun's clinic was closed, but he is still practicing psychiatry at Rush. What has only been recently revealed is that Braun had not been a licensed psychiatrist to begin with, but only obtained his license sometimes after Burgess had gone into therapy with him. The state of Illinois has brought formal charges against Dr. Braun to revoke his license. Amazing. Another example of possible delusion in Tales of Mind Control, I noted in my Mind Control, World Control, that the book Illuminati Formula Used to Create Undetectable Total Mind-Controlled Slave by Fritz Springmeier and Cisco Wheeler contained much that does not seem credible to me. Their narrative seems to be a conglomeration of horror tales oft-told in the fundamentalist Christian underground without much regard for evidence, credibility, or even possibility. Since my first write-up, I have obtained a lengthy taped interview with Cisco Wheeler that has in many ways confirmed my opinion of her story. Wheeler, who frames her story within a strong Christian religious belief structure, believes that she came from a multi-generational satanic family and that her father was a 33rd degree Mason, a mind control programmer for the U.S. government, as well as being a Grand Master of the Illuminati Secret Society. She believes that he was involved in the shipment of drugs from Vietnam during the Vietnamese War. He was one of the guys who picked up kilos of heroin sewn into corpses sent home for burial. The purpose of that, Wheeler says, was to destroy the structure within the family unit. The drug culture was the real purpose behind the Vietnam War. That's really funny because you could have gotten that heroin a lot of other ways. Structure within the family unit and the purpose of the Vietnam War aside, Wheeler reports that the late 1940s, the Illuminati set upon a plan to infiltrate churches because they understood the power of God within the structure of the church. And they had to find ways to infiltrate the church to break down that spiritual strength within it. The power of the Holy Spirit works within the church. Her father, she says, was used to further this purpose and married a woman who was not Illuminati or involved in ritual magic, but who did have a Christian background so that he could obtain entrance into fundamentalist circles. Wheeler believes, like many others, that she was adversely conditioned by trauma while still in the womb, and that by the time I was 18 months, because my father was a programmer, he could control my liver, my kidneys, my heart rate, my pulse, my respiration. Later, she says, she was sexually groomed to serve as the top politicos of this country. This programming, according to Wheeler, took place at China Lake Naval Base, Alcatraz Prison, the Presidio, and Scotty's Castle in California, and that the State Mental Hospital and Dronebecker Masonic Hospital in Oregon. Wheeler estimates that there were a total of 10 million children who were programmed in MK Ultra. That is a very high number. Technically speaking, I guess MK Ultra, the technologies that have origins in MK Ultra is literally like all of our media environment. So kind of correct, but this direct programming, 10 million, real high number. I was part of the Illuminati function within the British royal family during elite meetings, she reports. The first American president that sexually abused her, she recalls, was Eisenhower. She also revealed that she endured mind control procedures under the hand of the infamous Dr. Green, who she identifies as actually being the Nazi Joseph Mengele working under an alias. Amazing. Her father, she says, was Mengele's number 2 man. I'm his top guy. I'm Mengele's top guy. Dr. Mengele needs me. The angel of death needs me. I'll do it. I'll do it, Dr. Mengele. I'll step up for you. Anyway, as to the books that she and Springmeyer have self-published, Wheeler says, if we had a publishing company and distributing them, the Illuminati would buy them all up and have the right to them, and we would lose our books. If we had a publishing company distributing them. Oh, so wait. This is a business model. So as to the books that she and Springmeyer self-published, so she says, if we had a publishing company, the Illuminati would buy them all up and have the rights, and we would lose our books. But just keep creating publishing companies just to make the Illuminati buy the entire print run, right? Like, do that. Infinite money printer, right? Infinite money printer. Anyway, perhaps providing insight into how Wheeler came to believe that she was the victim of mind control abuse is the information that her therapy took place in the context of a group of 4 women, all of whom believed that they had been programmed and at about the same time by the same programmers. Oh, okay. Well, this is not. She says, in our healing process, the first thing we had to acknowledge within ourselves, and we each had to do this separately, is to acknowledge that we are multiple personality disorder, that we are dissociative identity disorder, and that we were generational families of Satanism. Okay, so that's an induction. Again, like many other recovered memories of mind control and ritual abuse, being dawdled on President Eisenhower's lap, Cisco Wheeler's version of history is long on Christian sermonizing about the end times, and as far as I can tell, devoid of proof. It is obvious that Cisco Wheeler believes what she's saying. I don't doubt her sincerity, but her recollections are so scanty and so generalized in detail that they do not comprise anything approximating proof or even possibly credible accounts. This, of course, may not be vital for widespread acceptance of her story in an era where seemingly half the population believes that extraterrestrial aliens collaborate with the American government in underground bases, but it is vital to me. Horror of horrors to some researchers, in order to accept reports of this nature as being true, one absolutely must rely on proof. Fair enough. Jim Keith is a little hostile. It seems a little hostile to Christianity here, which I don't appreciate. But I definitely agree that this type of story does not seem to hold that much water. Anyway, it is obvious to me that Cisco Wheeler has had problems in her life, and those problems may even have stemmed from mind control programming. I do not rule out that as a possibility, but the simple fact is that she has not proven that she is a subject of mind control, or that the CIA or the Illuminati are responsible. To repeat, I do not say that all people who believe that they have been mind controlled or who believe they have been victims of ritual abuse are deluded. Far from it, as evidenced by the time I have spent writing this book. I believe that many of these persons are actual victims, and that there is an underworld of mind control and ritual abuse that has been only partially exposed at this time. It is simply cases such as these must be evaluated carefully and individually. To uncritically accept every account, even the most outrageous and obviously paranoid, as many so-called researchers do, discredits the real mind control abuse that does take place. It is also important to realize that the contamination of stories, actual as well as believed victims, may be a way of discrediting the truth by injecting outlandish details into these stories, by linking intelligence agency mind control with extraterrestrial aliens and such. A pallor of doubt is cast upon real cases of abuse. This is the activity of scrambling that Catherine Sullivan and others talk about. It is also true that traumatic abuse and conditioning confuses and disorients the victim, causing cross-referencing of mental information and potentially adding to the nightmarish quality of many reports of this sort. Finally, there are many reports of mind control conditioning that I find credible, and many witnesses whose testimony does hold up under scrutiny. All right, folks, I think we're going to leave it there. We will be back next week, and we'll continue. I actually think we might be getting towards the we are getting towards the end of this. So maybe we'll do the green bomb speech, and then maybe wrap up Jim Keith's mass control. I do have a very exciting book that will be following this one on. And it's one that I think you're all going to very much enjoy. But it's something that is basically is confirming the thesis that Sandy and I have worked up over the course of this show, which is that the heritage of the MK Ultra program is basically present in the media technology of today, in its very fundamental operation. So, so we'll look into that, and we will see you next time.
You're discouraged from questioning and thinking critically. You must accept the word of the leaders. They make you feel guilty if you do question or argue. Your environment is often controlled, cutting you off from friends, family, school, previously held beliefs. They want you to become dependent, provide a poor diet, poor health care, little sleep, and long exhausting hours of work to make you physically weak and lower your ability to think clearly. Subtly, your self-confidence gets undermined, and your self-image or sense of identity is changed. The leaders control channels of communication. They cut off or put down outside sources of information. Then they bombard you with what they want you to think. They use strong peer pressure, playing on your desire to be loved and accepted. The leaders may promise rewards if you obey them and punishment if you don't, but they alternate harshness and leniency in order to confuse you. The leaders manipulate language, giving special meanings to words that only insiders understand. This is to make you feel like you're part of a special, important, or elite group, and that outsiders are inferior, dangerous, or doomed. You have to confess your shortcomings, mistakes, or misbehavior, sometimes even if these things never really happened. And meanwhile, your time and activities are tightly controlled. You don't have much privacy or energy or time to think because you're too busy doing monotonous, repetitive tasks. The leaders try to control you and even your sexuality, everything about you. They want to exploit you for their own enrichment, their own power or grandiosity. If they succeed, you will declare your loyalty to its leaders, rejecting your old values and way of life. Without realizing it, you will have been changed into a person who is being controlled by a totalist cult.